we didn't really save much time for sports. Maybe, do you think college athletes, having been a college athlete, should they be paid? I mean, this kind of goes into livelihood. So do you have any quick thoughts on that?
So here's what I would say about that. I think that the construction of the NCAA and the business that it has become, if you look back on, let's go back 100 years, the NCAA was created to allow intercollegiate sports to happen. Hey, you go to Army and I go to Navy and we both play football. Like, let's play against each other. Like, that was the beginning of the NCAA, is trying to coordinate intercollegiate events. And what the NCAA has become is one of the most profitable companies in the world. And so I think the way that it's structured and the viability, I just always thought it was dumb myself if, so I played college baseball. If I would have gone to a business in Little Newburgh, Oregon, and they gave me a pizza, I could have been unable to play college athletics for the rest of my career for taking a $8 pizza or a $10 pizza or whatever, while the NCAA is making hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars on broadcast rights, television, advertising, running their events like the Final Four and the college football, championship and the revenue that they make from that. So I don't think it's wrong for athletes to be able to be paid. I do think that the NCAA has probably done a bad job of setting guardrails and boundaries around those payments. Is it great that all the linemen at whatever Texas University of Texas,
Yep.
they all get $10,000 a month for a gym membership so that they can be on a commercial for Joe's Gym? Like, I don't know, like. I just think there probably needs to be some better guardrails around it. But I'm not against those athletes being paid. And even you go back to, it wasn't Ray Allen, who was the NBA player, went to University of North Carolina. He sued the NCAA because they used literally his likeness in NCAA basketball for PlayStation for 15 years or whatever. Like, specifically those types of athletes that are being depicted in a sporting game, like, they should be compensated for, using their likeness and their, so I think those things are okay. I mean, same with, let's go back to my call. If I were to, sign 10 baseballs and give them to somebody to sell and then take money for doing that, like, again, like, I would have not been able to play college baseball. It's my name. I'm signing it. Like, it's up to me. There's restrictions on the types of jobs I could have as a collegiate baseball player and still be active. So I think it's going the right way. I just hope that there are maybe some better guardrails, and I don't know that the NCAA is capable of that.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very quickly going to be. Well, I think it already is. Isn't there a whole story right now about the USC wide receiver being poached by, or USC is poaching a wide receiver from Miami or Florida or something like that. Yeah. By paying him, I mean, it's like $1 million
right
name and image contract.
Right. Right.
And there's already talk. Nick Saban's already like, yeah, it's just going to be the way it is. Like, we're going to pay these guys $1 million, and our team's going to be the best.
Well, and there was another kid that was a high school senior, and he took something like $1 million as well. And the plan was and I don't remember where it was, but the plan where he was going to go to an SEC school, and then he had got the money, and 6 months later he decided he wanted to go to a different school. Like, what are the repercussions of that? I don't know that that's even played out, the repercussions. Right. But yeah, there's a lot of gray area going on with that name, image, likeness for sure. And honestly, in my mind, for that situation, I mean, buyer beware. You're dealing with a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you give him $1 million and think he's not going to potentially change his mind or not have something in the contract to get that money back, then shame on you. I mean, my kids will eat one thing one night and won't eat it again for a year.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I think I'm repping the Gonzaga Bulldog shirt here. You know, it was great. It was great seeing Drew Timme on commercials. So,
That's right.
That was great.
That's right.
There was probably more shadiness going on there behind the scenes, but he was doing commercials, and I'm sure he was getting compensated for it, and I think that was great.
Yeah, for sure. I guess as a nation who is built on, we don't have time to debate what it is now, but built on independence, allowing someone the right to make a living the way they see fit, I think it's kind of hard to say, hey, Drew Chimme, you can't do a Walker's Furniture commercial, or you can't do if they're willing to pay you money like that. That's where, again, I think there could be some better guardrails, but I have a tough time actually, even, and this is down another path, but I have a tough time with the NCAA, not allowing a baseball player to go into the draft if he enrolls in college for 3 years, or the NFL. You have to go a couple of years, I think 2 or 3 years, to go to college to play in the NFL, at least 1 year in college to go to the NBA. Like, restricting of, if there's an unbelievable violinist at 12 and can be in a concert hall in Nashville, Tennessee, making hundreds of thousands of dollars, they go do it. If there is a genius kid who can go to college at 14 and get a master's degree by 16, like, they can do it. Like, that's where I get kind of worked up a little bit, in that don't restrict someone if they're, that's the whole independence and free market, right? Like, the market's going to tell you if you're, and this happened before the NBA, had the one and done rule. You have six or eight guys a year who would get drafted out of high school, and 1 or 2 of them would be good, and the other 4 would get cut after a year or 2. And, that to me, I think, is a better scenario. Allow them to do it. If they're ready, they're ready,
Yeah.